Hey, let's welcome to the program our own Dr. David Klein of the Stages of Life Institute. And today we're going to talk about CGM. Is that a new computer? Is that a new code? What is CGM?
Well, it's all of the above, and it stands for continuous glucose monitoring.
Whoa.
Now, this is kind of a cool little trick. There's a device that's being put in medical practice right now. It has been now for several years, where you implant it very gently under the skin. Takes a moment to do, doesn't hurt a bit, actually. And it takes blood samples, serum samples more appropriately, every 5 minutes. And what it will do is it'll tell your blood sugar every 5 minutes. More accurately, it tells it to a little computer chip on the device that's sitting taped to your skin. So it sits there. You don't even know that it's there. You can take a shower. You can do just about anything but swim for 3 days. And every 5 minutes, it will take your blood sugar. Now, this is terribly, terribly important, because if you have to do your own blood sugar determinations using those little devices that prick your finger, the accuracy is maybe plus or minus 15 to 30%. And you're making judgment calls on medications based on numbers that really are not, by their nature, accurate at all. What this thing does is it gives you the opportunity of taking and recording these one-touch, these many different types of device readings, record them, and then we compare them to what this device tells you is true.
Wow.
When we insert the device and when we remove it, we also draw regular blood samples for blood sugar, thereby giving you 3 different readings. We can calibrate your meter very, very accurately, very precisely, and what this does is it allows you to better let's say monitor your blood sugars for your diabetes. Now, why am I interested in doing this? Okay, really, I don't care so much about your one-touch meters. I don't really care about what you got at Walgreens. It doesn't make a lick's bit of difference to me. What does make a difference is this: by using this technology, by using this little device, by using the data that is gathered in this way, we can then adjust your medications, not your insulin, not necessarily your metformin, but introduce other medications like bromocriptine and further bring down your blood sugar by getting data in real time. Because many of these medications, there are timing issues with it. Bromocriptine in particular, it's best taken ostensibly at 10 o'clock in the morning. But the data that I'm seeing come in may not be true at all. So by using these devices, we will then be able to see your physiological response to these medications and take intelligent, proactive action to better control your blood sugars. This is probably the best thing since sliced bread. It's absolutely marvelous. And what's particularly interesting about this, other than the fact that it doesn't hurt a bit putting in, is the fact that Medicare covers it. Most insurances cover this. It is absolutely awesome. I'm really keyed up, fired up, and anxious to get this thing underway.
As a layman, I've often wondered about that. And we've kind of skirted the issue a few times in our years together. But I've always thought that, okay, so a doctor does some test on you, and some doctors do very few tests, and they come up with a prescription. That prescription may very well be the same as the guy down the street. But we have different metabolism. We have different bodies. We have different body weight. So that worries me.
Oh, it should worry you. And it's even more interesting. Okay, body weight being one thing, but what do you absorb? Okay, that's the greater variable. People absorb differently at different times during the day. They absorb differently just person to person. So you can give one individual 500 milligrams of medication X, and it may have little or no benefit, little or no effect, no noticeable interaction with what they're taking because it didn't get absorbed. Or what if it were absorbed? Where does it go from the stomach? It goes straight to the liver, where 80% or more is ripped up, detoxified, torn into little pieces, and excreted. So if your liver function is, let's say, questionable, medication function, medication effect, medication delivery will change. Or let's say that it's ramped upwards from alcohol or other medications. You may need more of these medications to have the same net effect. But the end order, the end product, the end measurable item in metabolism, in the case of diabetes, is sugar, blood sugar, glucose. So nobody really cares so much what your cholesterol is doing necessarily. what you're looking for is what that blood sugar is doing. I pay attention to insulin levels as well because the insulin to glucose ratio is very, very important. But you don't know what people's blood sugars are doing for the remainder of the 24 hours in the day when you're not getting a blood drawn in your office. Now, what good is a single blood sugar drawn in the office? It's very, very little, okay, because it's one data point in a vast array of data points that are available. What this does is it gives us a look into a person's metabolism that you would never otherwise be able to do. So let's say that you're like everybody else and you eat, or you're like everybody else and you breathe, or you're like everybody else and you sleep. Okay, your metabolism changes during those periods, and you're not eating or sleeping necessarily when you're sitting in the chair in your doctor's office. So what this does is it gives you a vision. It gives you a look into that person very, very intimately, but very, very completely. The only disadvantage to it is you can only do this about every 90 days. So the changes that you make must be done about every 90 days or so, and that's not a big imposition because, frankly, that's just about right anyway. So, I can't really get too excited about it, but you repeat the procedure in 90 days and see what your net effect is. You're not looking for blood sugar to be under 100 fasting first thing in the morning. You really want it to be under 120 for the rest of the day also. This device will tell you. It will tell you what is going on, where you're doing it, what mistakes you're making, whether that nighttime eating is really screwing you, whether or not breakfast made a lick's bit of difference to your blood sugar, but dinner did. This is absolutely going to be let's say, a category killer with regards to the treatment of diabetes. And we do it at stages of life. Pretty soon, other folks will be doing it too. Hopefully, they'll get it right. We're going to be doing it differently, probably the most anyway, in that we're not only going to be pairing this against their own glucose meters, but we're going to be doing it against our own calibrated blood sugar monitors in the office. Why? Because the systems that we have set up are very, very accurate, not this plus or minus 20% that you get with those glucose meters. It's crazy.
That is amazing. Now, with your medical knowledge as vast as it is, what other applications may come along of a similar nature that have constant monitoring in our body?
Well, let's say that you're an athlete, okay, and you're going to go out there and you're going to try to optimize your performance against a run. Okay, what does your blood sugar do when you're running a marathon? Anybody know? I don't.
Nope.
Okay, well, this thing would allow us to do that. You would pop this thing in, do, let's say, a half marathon or do a 10K, and it'll tell you how to monitor. It will tell you how to adjust your diet before and after the race. Right now, people are guessing what they need to do to optimize what they're doing. What this will permit you to do is to measure it. In terms of professional athletics, this thing is going to be absolutely enormous. How long will that take? Well, a lot of these professional athletes are not notorious for being all that smart. The trainers are even less so. So it's going to take a while before they catch up to this one, I suspect. But you as a weekend warrior, somebody out there that's looking to run Mickey Mouse 10K, this is really going to make a big difference in your life.
It would probably make a change first in not only the individuals, but in Olympic sports.
Oh, absolutely. Well, what do you do about those individuals that go, well, gee, I think I'm hypoglycemic because I'm feeling a little sweaty? Well, number one, that's a huge leap of faith that has anything to do with blood sugar. But B, why not prove it? Okay, if your blood sugar is going down to 60 or 50 or 40, you'll pick it up on the machine. You'll pick it up on the system. You'll pick it up on the monitor. But most people that become dizzy or faint, it's due to something called a vasovagal, and the treatment is different. And why blame the wrong thing? It's like blaming ghosts for the noises in your house when you find out later on it was just simply the plumbing after all. So what does this thing do? It gives us information. It gives us very important information, and what's more is it's not expensive. This technology is not more than a few $100 if you had to pay cash for it. This is pretty cheap business. The docking stations and all the other garbage I had to buy, that amounted to a significant investment. But the little devices that we pop under the skin, a couple $100, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less, and that's it. This is a pretty cool thing.
Now, is this totally defined so that every doctor will come up with the same diagnosis from the readings, or does it take the vast education of somebody, let's say, with your background?
Good question, bad answer. Okay, the data is what the data is.
Right.
Okay, and if you know what to look for, if you know how to interpret it, you've got it all made. So there are devices that will do this, in particular insulin pumps. When you read those data, which are not available to everybody because they're wickedly expensive, you can watch the blood sugars tighten up and it makes blood sugar control workable. If you have a doctor that can't read, you got a problem. If you got a doctor that can't speak, you got a problem. If you got somebody who you can't discuss it with, you got a bigger problem. Do I think other doctors can handle this? God, I would certainly hope so. I don't want to think I'm the only one out there.
All right, Robin can put you in touch with the stages of life, everybody.
Our phone number is 407-679-3337, and our website is stagesoflife.net. The office hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, and the health store is open during office hours. We are located in Longwood at 1917 Booth Circle. That's right off of I-4 and 434.